you doing, Ben? What's going on?
Good. Thanks so much for having me on. It's such a honor. Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're pumped.
I mean, I can't see how. It's been 12 episodes, but I appreciate you saying that.
Well, I listened to the Manchester Orchestra one.
Oh,
nice.
It's
Awesome.
really cool. Yeah, it's cool. Not from Manchester or an orchestra.
I was going to make that joke during the interview, and I decided.
Oh, sorry. Too easy. Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Ray made it happen. Our beloved Ray Jeffrey.
Such a sweetheart. Yeah. He sent me a message today.
How do you know Ray?
He was Monitors on a tour. We've toured for ages. He was my drum tech for a little bit, and then he was worked his way to Monitors. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome.
Love him.
I think we all know
we
him
have a
from
few
different ways.
Yeah. He gets around. Yeah, and we also know Gavin.
Yeah.
Gavin. He was in a band called Paper Route.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, we could just talk about him for an hour. How much of an angel and sweet he is. If you want to, we could do that.
I love Gavin. Gavin is honestly one of those drummers that, because we toured with him way back in the day.
Yeah.
And I'd heard him, and then just watching him. Well, actually, it's funny we haven't talked about Gavin on this pod yet. He truly, when we talk about like underrated drummers, Gavin is actually that. He could be up there with just like, studio stuff, like anything Gavin does, he's unbelievable at too. So
yeah, he's got it, as they say.
Funny story with Gavin, real quick, not New Zealand but Australia. We were on tour. I hadn't seen Gavin in like 5 years, and we were at this brewery called Little Creatures. We were in Perth.
Yeah.
And we were sitting outside, beautiful, and it was so many people. I'm talking like it was so slam. It felt like 1,000 people at this brewery, and we were outside, and I'm sitting there, and just walks by is Gavin. And I was literally like, what? Oh, dude, it was the most mind. We were so confused because I was like, dude, I hadn't seen him in years. And it just happened to be there. He was with another band and we were there. But anyway, I thought it was funny.
He's such a legend. Yeah, he's a
good dude.
Yeah, saw him the other night.
Where are you right now?
I'm in El Sereno in LA.
Oh,
it's like East Side. It's close to Highland Park.
Nice.
Okay.
It looks like you're in the middle of constructing something in the background.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm building a studio.
Oh, beautiful.
Very nice.
Nice, man.
I thought about doing an iPad so I could show you.
Whoa. You're like,
jeez, man. When did you start, and when do you plan to finish it?
It's like so close. See if I can pick this up.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dang, full on like build out.
This looks
and then the drums are obviously in that corner.
You guys gonna
I've tried these tube trap things.
Yeah, those are crazy.
I know. I just saw someone else do that recently.
What is that?
It's just this it's pipe insulation. It's like I guess it's a similar stuff like Owen's the cornering, they're in a lot of the absorption panels, and they're used to absorb to insulate pipes. And you just wrap them. There's a different ways. There's like a Helmholtz one you can do where it's like specifically tuned to frequencies, but these ones are pretty broadband. They can do like really good for low end, and you chuck them in the corner.
Wow.
And you just wrap them in material, put a cap on them, and they just like disrupt the sound wave, I guess, and absorb it. I think, I'm kind of like, I'm just like a novice. I'm like a big fan of acoustics, but don't really know heaps, but pretend I know a lot. I did the electrical.
Wow.
I got that done by an electrician, sorry.
Okay.
But the rest I've done myself. Yeah.
Nice, man.
I had like some friends help lift some heavy stuff, but
it looks very impressive.
I started about a year ago. Sorry, someone asked me. I've been going for about a year, just over a year.
Wow.
Did you build it like
crazy.
the full structure, or is that in your house?
No, it was a 2-car garage at the back of the property.
Okay.
Cool. Like 20 by 20, and
it's perfect.
I just put a new ridge beam in so I could vault the ceiling a bit.
Yeah.
Did the room within a room thing.
And,
is the plan to do like just remote recording and stuff?
Yeah, that's the plan. Share it with like a friend or two, like other producers or composers that looking for a spot. So get a little bit of make a little bit of rent money from that, and then I love I'm very amateur synth player. I love making stupid dance music. So just
sounds like Ben.
muck around my synths. Yeah, but all my biggest dream is always have my synths and on my drums and everything and all my gear in the same room. And now I finally realized it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But now I finished it and I really enjoyed the building process. But now I've got to make some sounds, and now making like getting the drums sounding good and stuff. Like I really enjoyed the building process. Like I love like the design and stuff. And as soon as I started trying to get drum sounds and recording, I just get so frustrated with myself. It's like this weird thing where it should be the fun part, but I'm just so hard on myself with that part of it. It's really bizarre. Yeah, the building stuff was so fun and a breeze. And like,
what about it? Is it just like you?
I think I'm just like really want to be good at it. Like I want it really, and I've got so many friends in it, and I've invested so much money in the gear and stuff. And I know I'll get there, but I just got to teach myself to like enjoy the process. You know, take my time, and like it'll come. Like if I can build a studio like this, I can get good at that stuff. But,
I was gonna say, have you
100%?
Have you reached out to like friends and stuff, like just sort of getting sort of some, you know, tips and tricks? That's
totally
too, but you know,
totally. And you know, I've like been doing it for years and recording, and you know, like for different producer friends, and I've been doing it for a long time, but in kind of bad, shitty sounding rooms. So I think now I've got this nicer room. I just got so much expectation on myself. Yeah, exactly. But I just need to chill and like have fun with it. Yeah.
How long have you been in LA?
Just over 9 years.
Wow.
Yeah, about 9.5 years. Yeah.
Damn.
Would the studio build out have gone faster if you weren't touring?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would run out of money constantly, so I'd have to do like a tour to make money for the rest of for the next stage of it, like to buy like the finishing timber, and then I'd run out of money and do another tour. So that's how I've been kind of paying it. But yeah, I told myself I was going to be finished towards the end of last year. That's like in my head, I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
You know how these things do, and everybody has that issue, and for some reason I still thought.
How much time are you spending on the road?
This year's been like busier than I thought I would be. I've kind of had something every month or every 2 months, and either like a week to 2 weeks. It's been pretty consistent, because my usual big gig, that's like on higher, you know, she's doing a record at the moment, the artist I drum for, doing a record. And so that can be anywhere from like 2 to 3 years. It's been up to 4 years off at a time. So this time I was gonna, you know, try to stay home a bit more and not, you know, or, you know, when I'm don't have to travel, like try not to go away too much. But and I said I'd only do stuff that I really wanted to do and enjoy for friends and stuff. And I've never been busier, which is nice. So it's been a busy year. So I reckon, I'd have to add it all up. But
is it with all different artists and stuff, or is it you kind of maintain stick with one?
Heaps of different artists this year, either fill-ins or I like picked up a new gig, you know, like the drummer couldn't do it or whatever. Gav passed me on a gig, which was really sweet of him.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's been heaps. Like 1 month I counted, I think I did like 5 different artists in like 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah, it was a mad month. But
how's that learning process?
How does your brain like how do you do that?
I do not have a good memory. First of all, I've got a terrible memory. I'm like a goldfish. But I bought an iPad Mini. My wife was like, "You don't need that. Like, got an old one." I was like, "No," and I like disobeyed her, and I bought an iPad Mini. And over the years, I've just like developed like a notation system. I'll see if I can.
That's
curious.
awesome. So you look at that like live while you're playing.
Yeah, I tuck it under my hi-hats.
Wow.
No one really cares because I get all the parts right. I think if I had an iPad and I was getting the parts wrong, I think they'd be annoyed. But
I mean, the minis are pretty small. You should do the iPod. You should do the Apple Pro Vision.
Oh my God, the Vision goggles.
I've talked about this. Yeah,
no, you
have discussed this. Yeah, that's so silly. Yeah, that's so amazing. Yeah, well, we're not too far away from someone doing that. Yeah.
Oh, there's somebody already somewhere who's
totally. Someone's multitasking.
I had a question too, I guess with the varying gigs and stuff. I mean, I was looking up your setup for the Lorde stuff. It's very like electronic based, right?
Oh yeah.
So like when you're going to do something else, like say like what's like one of the other gigs that you did in that month, is it similar to that or is it completely different?
Pretty different.
Yeah.
I've done 1 or 2 other things that had triggers and an SPD this year. Yeah, I think I've done like 2 other, and it's just pretty simple. It's just the SPD with a couple of triggers. But the Lorde thing is pretty like jacked up on hybrid.
Pretty crazy, yeah.
Is that your typical setup, Ben? Because that is one thing I wanted to ask, because you do integrate triggers and with acoustic drums, and I just want to know first off like what your setup is typically, and then for someone like me who doesn't use those tools at all.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fear and intimidation using them. Like, how would you recommend going about? Is there any gear that you recommend starting with for someone like me?
Yeah. First of all, I it was completely out of necessity. I don't enjoy triggers. I'd much rather just play. Like my usual setup is like 2 toms, a snare, and a crash and a ride and a hi-hat. It would be sick to not even have a crash. Like I don't like just one kick pedal. Simple. I'd like to learn double kick one day, but I could care less about electronics, but I do care about sounding right for the gig, and obviously it's, you can get the right sounds, and that's what the important thing about it is.
You do it very well.
Thank you.
I wouldn't know any different as far as your preference not to use them, because I actually saw you all play with Lorde on the tour with Run the Jewels. I went to see Ray and say hi to him, and I stuck around for the show, and it was amazing, and I just was very impressed with how you use triggers and everything else. It sounded great.
I started with just like a cheap Alesis drum pad, and then put triggers. It was like a hip hop band back in New Zealand a long time ago, and plugged it into my Dell laptop, which you had to put on foam, otherwise it would skip.
That's incredible.
And I'd have gigs where it'd just be like the triggers were going haywire, be like the kick and drum sound like a machine gun. You just have to pull the ripcord, and then eventually I got an SPDS, and then just slowly kind of sorted out the trigger, the settings, and that's how I really got the Lorde gig, is because I knew how to use it. I think it was me against 3 of my other mates that auditioned, and I was the only one that could really
that's actually
get the settings right.
That brings up a good question, and I think I saw on Instagram you also played some shows with Sky Ferreira, right?
Yeah. That's what I've been doing.
That stuff too is like super sample heavy. So with that, I mean, you obviously you got the Lorde gig because you knew how to set that stuff up. But these days, if you get like a gig like the Sky gig or whatever, how much are you deciding? Are you working with her and her music director, or however she has it set up, to figure out what's going to be a track sample and what you're actually going to play, or are they basically like, you tell us what's possible?
I just play for Sky. I just try and play her parts like exactly as they are, as close as I can, because the production's so sick. It's like,
right.
I wouldn't want to do anything different. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
It's such cool music. The songs are so rad. It's quite cool for me to learn what they're doing, and that's one cool thing about doing lots of different gigs, is you can kind of jump into the mind of like the drummer or like the producer or whatever. For her, I stick as closely as I can to the record.
Do you load the sounds like onto your thing so they're exactly like the album? Like, are you basically taking like?
For Lorde, for most gigs, they'll send me stems.
And then you just put it
if they've not already got the samples. So often if I'm taking over a gig or like filling in, the drummer will just send me a file and folders, and I can put it in my SPDS. The other way is you can load, it's in the Ableton file in the playback. And so you can just
MIDI triggers.
It'll switch it.
SPD straight into the Ableton, and that trigger from Ableton.
Do you prefer one or the other?
I think I prefer SPDS. I don't prefer either of them. If I had to choose, I would probably an SPDS, just because you have control over your own stuff, really. If it's in the scene, you're gonna kind of go into the weeds, and if you want to move a pad, you got to go into the drum rack in Ableton, and it gets a little heady. Switch it around, and it's just not that.
I gotta admit, those DAWs triggers I think are the coolest things in the world. I want to play with them so bad, but they're so expensive.
Which ones?
They are.
The DAUG is the company. They're like they're cool.
What's his name? He's a sweetheart. He's been making them since like the 80s. You see pictures of all the 80s dudes, like top Neil Peart, and you often you'll see one pop up. Like, oh, that's cool. They've been really good.
Tool, Danny Carey from Tool, the timbala things that he uses.
They're all triggers.
What are those?
I know what you're talking about.
There's something else he uses. They're like 4-zone or something. I forget the name of those. It's a different one. He might have some doors as well.
When I was doing that stuff, I was using the Keith McMillan.
They have one too.
That's a 4-zone, but you can in the software you can choose like if you want it to be 4 or half and half, or top half or bottom half.
I've seen those. They're pretty thin, right?
Yeah, they're tiny. It's actually it becomes a problem because I would lose it. I'd be like packing up my drums. I'd be like, wait, where's this pad? It's literally like a pancake.
That's cool. I've seen those super thin. Super thin.
How does it feel hitting? playing them, you feel
they're
like
fun.
you
It
can
feels.
do it.
I mean, you can definitely bend it. Like it's not super weird. It doesn't have, but it's made of that weird rubber. All his stuff has that weird.
Oh, okay.
coating.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I knew.
But it feels good. It's there's like I don't know. It kind of feels like a practice pad. So it's like not.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that different.
Kinda
but
what you want.
it is when you're using the 4-zone. It's not very big. So when you're using it as a 4-zone, you really have to be paying attention because it gets so sensitive toward the center. You know.
Yeah, that's why I switched from the SPD full load stuff and to the DAWs pad. So I just made because my aim is not as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
So I just made a giant SPDS really. So it's got the BT one blocks, which you cannot miss, and the DAWs ones are like bigger targets.
Do you have is there like a backup system? Do you have, or is it just like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I guess.
Full load stuff. I have two TD50s, and they have a Y split.
It's like
they both go into a rack, like a thing, which and I have a foot pedal, an AB switch, which I can click to switch to the different TD50.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay. I was going to ask because I mean, going into a show like that, I would have anxiety.
Yeah, me too.
Just anything going wrong.
Like the first Ableton tour I ever did, we did it just raw. I just did it raw with like
just raw dog one,
and the whole tour was like 30 some shows, and only one show did it crap out, and I was like, I can't believe that, because then later I like did a tour with Nate's band Teching, and I had 2 laptops and an automatic switch and a foot switch or whatever.
Like 5 times.
Oh, during one show it would switch to the B rig like every other song, and I was like, that's crazy.
We have a double rig right now too on this last tour, and that was a 3-month tour, Jordan. It never switched once. They said it never switched.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just it is peace. It's peace of mind.
Yeah, especially if your lights are tied to it.
They are. Yeah, it's all time code and stuff.
Do you have any nightmare stories of just your gear?
We love talking about nightmares.
Failing on you.
Yeah, I know. I have a good one. I have a good stage story.
Yes.
Gear was, I mean, besides the classic batteries running out, and then you try and drum to front a house, and then everyone's looking around at you like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Well, what's your story in general that you had off the top of your head?
Oh yeah, so it was in New Zealand, and I was playing in a hip hop band. It was 2 rappers, and then me and my friend Josh. We were opening for quite a big New Zealand band, and it was at the Victor Arena, or no, it's like Spark Arena now. I don't know if any of you attend that. It's like the big arena in downtown Auckland. So it's a pretty big crowd. We're going for it, and then one of the rappers was like had picked up his microphone stand, and he was he was like swinging it around by like this part here.
Oh.
It was just.
Which was heavy. It was like a heavy one, like proper pro audio stuff, and it looked cool. It was like using it as like a machine gun and stuff, like shooting the crowd, and then you like swinging it around, and like of course the heavy part breaks off, and it's a big stage, and it just like helicopters flies the whole way and hits me right in the side of the head.
Oh,
and I blacked out momentarily halfway through a fill. I was trying to do like lots of chops as linear chops. And halfway through a fill, and kind of like blacked out, like came to, I think I managed to like do the last crash on the fill, and then it might have been the end of the song, and I was like sitting there, and then like touched my head,
and you were on the ground.
I was still sitting on my chair.
No way.
I touched my head, and it's just like wet, and there's just like blood pouring down my face. And so
probably looked cool.
One of the stage dudes like grabbed some like napkins for me, and I shoved them under my hat, and like finished the gig, and then went to hospital and got like 5 stitches in the side of my head.
Oh
my
and, gosh!
You finished this set with just bleeding through your ass.
That's probably like the gnarliest.
I think that's the first concussion story on stage I've heard.
That's brutal.
You're just kind of going on adrenaline, though. I think so.
Yeah, I guess that's true too. Yeah, you don't even,
especially in front of that many people. You're sort of like this is like the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
Scenario.
Yeah. And no one saw it. No one in the crowd.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of worse. You kind of wish everyone would see it. You're like, who saw that?
Why is he bleeding?
Everyone's like, why did the drummer stop? He like messed up.
Like, oh, boo. Like, bleeding out.
Yeah, boo.
Damn.
Yeah.
Ben, you're the first person that we've had on the podcast who's had to learn Matt Chamberlain parts.
Oh yeah.
How is that?
I'm like so back to like having a small kit. The thing that excites me is just like doing the simple stuff with the best feel. And like, if I can just play like a money beat, all about the feel, that's like the most exciting thing for me. And he's like the king of like feel, you know. He's like insane. He's like a chameleon, and he's like my biggest. He's like my favorite dude. I really look up to him. It was amazing. It was like a masterclass in his playing and trying to recreate his grooves and his tones. And I got his stems and I could break them down, like to see how they did it on the record. It was really cool to see what like mics they use, you know. It'd be like, because it's a pretty rich album, you know. It's really dense. It's a cool world that they created. So yeah, being able to like pick apart the mics and like, but just trying to play like him was so cool, and you know, get that finesse, extra finesse, and he's a smarty.
Cool to hear those parts, probably not in a mix, like hearing them.
Yeah.
Just the drum, like hearing all the actual nuance of like what was happening, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's a beautiful drummer. Yeah, really incredible.
Have you ever met him?
I've not met him. Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to be his best friend.
Well, Matt,
I've not met him, but one day we'll see. Yeah, you don't want to push these things, you know. Don't scare him.
Don't scare him off.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Matt performance? Like on album?
Oh,
do you have one?
Well, the very first song I reckon I played publicly was with my sister and her friends at her high school performance, and I was still in middle school, and it was "Criminal," I think, by Fiona Apple.
Mm-hmm. Sick.
So, and I've like listened to interview him talking about how he made it. Yeah. So that, you know, that was really influential. He played on the like Monks by Frank Ocean. That, you know, Monk, that's incredible. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize he played on that.
I feel like he really goes off on the Fiona Apple records. It's like pretty shocking, like some of those parts.
Yeah. I listened to the interview. They didn't know what to. They didn't really know what they're going to do when they went into it. I think it was him and another producer friend and one other guitarist friend, and they went in thinking one thing and came out doing something completely different, and kind of like made it work in the moment, which was really special because it's such an iconic and special.
Yeah, those are some of the best albums though when that happens.
Yeah,
like
totally.
When with one thing and they're like, that's not what we thought at all.
Agree,
It ends up being super, super unique. And cool.
Yeah, I agree.
We did a tour with them, or a band that I play in.
Oh, sick.
He was playing with Brandy, and I got to talk to him. He's a very interesting guy.
Yeah.
It was cool to be able to actually. I had never seen him play live before either, and it was cool to be able to like watch him play. And I was just
like, "Is he your best friend now?
Is he my best friend?"
Look, you both have the same name. Maybe you guys could be best friends.
We chatted for a little bit. He's a super nice guy. He's also very, like, you can tell, like, the reason why he is, you know, who he is, honestly. But he just doesn't really. That the crazy thing about that tour is we were opening, and it was like this. These were like arenas. And they weren't using ears; they were using wedges.
God,
and that's mad.
I have no idea how they did. It's madness. Yeah, it's And he loves it. He's like, I hate playing to. He's like, he hates playing to a click live. He just likes to just, you know, free flow it.
That's cool.
Not shocking.
Do we any earplugs or
No, he doesn't wear earplugs either. He just
no earplugs.
No, he just shreds. I mean,
it's not like he's hitting hard enough. I mean, I don't think he's like over.
No, he's not like hard. Yeah, but still, man.
Still, after all those years, though. Yeah, it can't be great.
No matter how hard you hit cymbals, there ain't no way that's good for your ears.
No.
But yeah, my right is still ringing from hitting the cymbal. Never stopped.
I was gonna say, I have ear damage from a China cymbal from when I was 16 years old. You know, like
same, man.
So
it's a bummer.
Ben, did you start playing with Lorde in New Zealand, or did you start here?
Yeah, in New Zealand. Yeah, it was like 2013. She started. We had a same manager from an old band I was in, and he started managing her. And then I knew Joel Little, the producer, as well. He was in like pop punk bands that we used to gig with, you know, we used to play shows together a little bit. So I kind of knew of her, and I knew that they were working, and so I kind of mentioned like that I'd be down to like maybe do it. And then I think initially there's a different band, and then for whatever reason they held auditions, and I managed to get it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, you said you beat out 3 of your homies.
All great drummers would have done an equally as great job. One of them is my best friend Jimmy. He ended up doing Ableton and synths. He's just learned how to play piano properly.
Also a drummer though, like he plays drums too.
Yeah, but he's a great drummer. Yeah,
really.
That's like Kyle Flynn, our old keyboard or whatever. He started playing for Father John Misty, and he could only play like key stuff. And then he literally spent like his whole time learning how to properly play piano, and now he ripped.
Yeah.
Still Father John Misty's dude. He's been with them since the first album, and it's just funny that you said that because he was like, he kind of like faked the gig. He was like, "Oh, I can do this," and then he was like, "Oh shit, I have to learn how to play piano." And he said he like ruined his fingers. He said he would just play till it would bleed. He was like, I was so determined to get it, and he's been with it for like 12 years.
Yeah, a long time.
Maybe longer.
That's insane.
So with Lorde, you've been there since the beginning.
That's cool.
Could you see that the potential in it when you first started? What was that even like?
Yeah, I think we all knew it was going to be like, because she just like put Royals out on SoundCloud or whatever, I think, and then it just, it was like
skyrocketed.
We're viral. Yeah, it just skyrocketed. So that doesn't really happen too often, I feel, when that starts. So I was just so lucky to be in the right place at the right time and knew the right people, you know.
I was just texting Zach Ferreira, and he said to say hey. I didn't realize y'all were homies, and he's like, Zach. And I told him we were hopping on. Also, I want to see if this proves a thought I have, and it might not, but do you know Rowan Crow?
Oh yeah, everyone. Yeah, he's like he's the great connector.
This proves my point. I was just about to say, like everyone. I mean, I figured if you knew Zach, but I had this theory that everyone, for the most part, that I know from New Zealand has to know Rowan.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting older now, so there's another generation coming up, but pretty much if you're in New Zealand and you're in music,
you know Rowan.
Everyone knows each other. And Rowan, yeah.
I named my first daughter after him.
You did? Oh, sick.
Yeah, I named my first daughter Rowan because of
awesome. Yeah, cute. Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah, he amazing musician, amazing drummer, and
his restaurant looks sick too.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
It's in New Zealand, the restaurant.
Yeah, dude, he has such a cool. He's got. Yeah, I don't know. He just where he lives and everything. I mean, I love so much, but his whole vibe. He's like has this restaurant now. It looks beautiful. Yeah. He's also one of the most wild people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
He took us out to these cliffs, and like he would try and do gainers off all of them. It'd be 50 feet off, but he's like, I don't care, like just out of his mind. But the sweetest, nicest dude ever.
He's a drummer.
Yeah.
He does everything. He plays drums.
Oh, who's he play with? I don't think I know that. I don't know.
No one.
I don't either.
I'm serious. I don't think he never toured. He was like the connector for New Zealand for bands like us.
That's
like
cool.
I think I met him through Zach.
Yeah, he toured with he did like a bunch of Warped Tour stuff. There's a couple of Kiwi dudes that would jump over on Warped Tour and like sell merch or like kind of like do different roles in Warped Tour, and so he toured with Paramore, and he's in a sick band during the Saints in New Zealand, which they were really cool. They were hardcore. But he's cool. He's an amazing drummer. Like, hits so hard. Yeah. Did he take you to the beach jump that it's like this big kind of curve arc thing? You sprint around the cliff and then jump off the end. Yeah.
We did all that stuff.
Yeah.
It took us all.
I need to go to New Zealand to meet Rowan.
Yeah.
Been to Australia, but not New Zealand.
It's not the same.
Yeah. You got to.
Ben, to clarify, I was not lumping you in with Australians. I know that's
Yeah, how dare you?
Well, at this point, you're from LA. You've been there for 10 years. Isn't that the rule?
Yeah, that's usually the rule.
He's 9. He said he's 9. He's not quite 10.
Yeah, he's close. He's close.
I talked to my kid in an American accent.
Yeah. Do you miss New Zealand?
Yeah, I do. I miss it a lot. Yeah, it's my family. My family. It's so cool. I do feel like I'm visiting when I go back now. Like it's kind of sad,
that is. Yeah,
I feel like you're visiting your own home, but it's such a beautiful. I definitely want to like end up back there. When I'm older. It's like I feel like if you got opportunity to be like live in a beautiful nature, beautiful nature and
absolutely
beautiful country.
I feel like y'all don't have like bugs or I don't know. I feel like there's nothing there. I'm like,
you all have bugs.
There's no like bugs. There's nothing that bothers you. There's no
nothing
snake.
too dangerous.
It just feels so chill. It's like
my wife and I spent some time in Iceland a couple years ago because our sister got married there, and that was a shock to me that there's no predatory animals or anything on the island at all.
Yeah.
That is,
so there's like no snakes there. There's like a bunch of like crazy insect, like no mosquito, like there's like all kinds of crazy stuff. You're just like, oh wow. You're like, yeah, basically if it's here and it's bad, it was brought here by someone else. Like and they're even like, every once in a while a polar bear like makes the swim from Greenland and they like capture it and put it on a boat and send it back.
Like, no.
There's like, no, not here. No, thank you.
Dude, Iceland sounds a lot like Florida.
I was going to say,
I've been to Florida. I don't.
They can harm you. Really,
no alligators, no pythons,
no mosquitoes.
What was life like in New Zealand, Ben? Because I was going to ask you how you got started playing in the first place.
Oh yeah, I think just pots and pans, the classic pots and pans. I was pretty young. My parents got me a drum kit. Was like 5 off a friend, and then just drummed at home. Got really good lessons in high school. This amazing New Zealand drummer Michael Franklin Brown. He drums in a sick band called Head Like a Hole. It was like named after the Nine Inch Nails. But he's an incredible drummer and really smart dude. He taught me so much more than drum. Like a lot about the philosophy of like being in a band and how to play with other musicians. And he's also I was not the brightest student, where I kind of just gave up at one point. And he would teach me math as well. So I would do half an hour of maths before drums.
Wow.
And
that's quite the combo.
Yeah, he was a rare smart drummer.
Wow.
One or two out there. Him and Matt Chamberlain, I think. Got me through. Yeah, I got 50%, I think.
Hey. That's all you need. You can count to 4. That's it.
Were your parents musically inclined? What actually got you started in the first place?
Yeah, my dad played bass. He was in some sick New Zealand. He was in this band called the Mangaweka Viaduct Blues Band, and it was kind of like rhythm and blues, like cool stuff. Yeah, he was a cool dude. My mum sang. We had a family jazz band called Espresso Jazz. And we had a regular gig in the travel section at Borders bookstore.
Wow.
Under the escalator there, tore it up, and we played restaurants like around the country. Like,
dang, that's
the
awesome.
whole time was just people telling me to play quieter. Basically.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
yeah.
How old were you? How when this was going on?
14 or 15.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. We had a piano player, Mr. Bean. Who used to play piano. Yeah. Not the same guy, but pretty similar. Pretty close. Yeah. He wasn't as funny.
Is drums your favorite? Your main? That's what you started on.
Yeah. I did learn cello for a year, but I didn't go with it. The teacher was not super chill, so I feel like when you're young, the teacher has so much to do with it,
Right.
Yeah.
It's got to be slow going. So I feel like the progress is probably so small that you have to be super patient as the teacher to like.
Yeah.
Wait, so the teacher that didn't teach you math on the side wasn't chill, is what you're saying?
No, he was lovely. Yeah, this cello teacher just was a little serious.
I feel like string teachers are a little. I think
it's like the Catholic, the ruler on the knuckles vibe.
Yeah,
like do it again.
Totally.
It's like movie Whiplash vibes.
Yeah.
No sense of humor.
Yeah.
There's no room for that. No.
But that's the time to learn when you're a kid. I wish I had learned piano or something. I wish I had learned a bit more theory. That's one thing I want to like. It's so hard to learn stuff in your older age. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's how you make money in music. Apparently, is write the chords and the melodies.
Yeah.
That's where you get the money, not from drums.
have you been doing your own writing? Like, do you?
I muck about on synths. Like I love synths. I really love dance music and synths and like kind of more experimental, like minimal stuff. Like I really like that. So
remind me the name of your project, because I know.
Oh yeah, that was
Ray Jeffries mixed it, right?
Yeah, I put a bunch of stuff called. It was under BB Normal.
Okay.
Yeah. I think with the new studio, I want to try something new and do something different. Yeah. But that was like me just super naive. It's very naive music. I think my strongest point is that I don't know what I'm doing at all, and it's like
that's sometimes good though. I mean, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I have like instruments in my room I have no idea how to use, and I just like plug things into it sometimes just to see what happens.
I kind of wonder. I mean, other than the actual chords and stuff with some synths, I don't think there is a way to know how to. I think The whole point is that you just push button and plug things in, and it does what it does.
Yeah.
Well, like Euro rack and module stuff.
Like Jeremy Griffith, I'm always like, dude, you don't know what you're doing. You just plug it. He does for sure, but it's just all that stuff. I'm like,
you mean the Euro rack? It's like the wall of.
Or you hit one key and it changes 1 trillion times. You hit it once and then it's just
there's like all the Nine Inch Nails, like their crazy modular synth thing where you're like, you can plug things in and you get one sound, but then you have to record that because you'll never find that exact sound ever again.
Because the sequence of it, one wrong unplug and it sounds awful.
Yeah. But we would go to, unfortunately, Asheville a bunch when my wife and I lived in Virginia, and the Moog factory and stuff is there. And it's I don't play keys. That's like my number one. If I could play anything, it would be keys and synths and all that kind of stuff. But it's hard when you go into the Moog store and you start playing with stuff. You're sort of like, you know what? I do need to buy this for $800. Like I don't know what it is about it, but you're just like, it's so fun, even if you don't.
The sounds, so there's just so much.
Yeah. You get the instant feedback of it. It's like
it is pretty instantaneous. I did a little synth course online. That's one thing I did learn is like, and how to control like the what the different controls do and on synthesis, and I taught myself that was really fun. So cool. I kind of know my way around more or less, but the plugin thing, it's funny. You never see like a modular synth guy closing their eyes jamming. You can't do that.
If you're like on YouTube, like looking up synth stuff, like because there's like these tiny companies that are in somebody's garage, where they make a synth that just does one very hyper specific thing, and you're like,
everyone wants it,
and you're sort of like, I don't know, $2,000 seems cheap for that. It seems cool. Wait, I don't need this the tape echo that does one thing.
But you do though. But
I do need it.
I mean,
you do need it.
Yeah, this is the music gear scene, and in general, it's just one giant scam. You just somehow you keep spending money, and you go on tour, and you talking to techs, and I don't know if they're getting paid by big outboard. But every time I
percentage.
You got to get this, and then I convince you got to get this, and then
are you a real gearhead and you just accumulate a bunch of stuff?
I guess so. Now I'm married with a kid and a bit more responsibility. It's coming a bit slower, but there was like so my first big tour, I spent it all on Jordans, on Nike Jordans, because you just like
naturally
young, immature. I'd gone tour, I'd come back with like 4 pairs of $300-$400 shoes.
Wow.
I sold them all in bulk for like $300. Just like 2 big clear bottles of used Jordans in New Zealand, and it's like one of my big regrets of life, but you could listen to them. And the next tour, I started spending money on gear, so I spent all on gear. Ray Jeffries would just tell me what to get, and I'd just buy it.
He's a bad influence in that regard.
He's so bad. He's so naughty. Like that.
I know.
I would always have trouble on the road because we would, you play Chicago and you go to Chicago Drum Exchange and you're like, in the cymbal room and you're like,
same.
Wait, how much per diem do I have here? And they're starting like, you go to Revival in Portland and you're like, I'm going to buy this vintage snare drum. And then you're like, then you buy it and you get it on the bus and you're like,
why did I do this?
Why did I do that? Like, what is this for? Like, I don't know.
Actually, see this Wurlitzer behind me that's got a
that's nice.
I bought that in Ohio. I forget. Bogarts, right?
How much
Bogarts.
did you pay for it?
It was like $800.
Oh yeah, dude, it's worth more than that.
I know, but I put it. It was like the 3rd day of like a month and a half tour, and I put it
on the bag.
The bag, I wrapped it in towels and put it in a bay and did the whole.
The internet's kind of fucked the deal. Like. You can't go to like some antique store and see like a vintage Ludwig snare that you know is worth $5,000, and they want $50 for it because now they just look.
What's the secret? Yeah, what all those vintage reseller do? There's like I feel like there's off-brand Craigslist and there's off-brand Facebook marketplace in that maybe an older generation have used since like the early internet days, and that's where all the deals are. I feel like that's how
you can still get them. You can still get deals.
When I was working in the apparel industry, there is a guy, like for example, in that industry, there's a couple places that are like vintage clothing warehouses where he buys stuff in bulk. So you basically he'll be like, some store will be going out of business and he'll be like, I know that they have, a 1,000 vintage white Hanes t-shirts, And that company's like, you can have all the t-shirts, but you also have to take this pile of, whatever kind of blankets or whatever. And so he just gets all of it in bulk and then sits on it basically until that thing becomes popular. And then he sells it at a premium. And I think all those like drum dealers and stuff, I think they just buy that shit in bulk. Like I think they go to like a music store that's going out of business and they just buy everything.
But then where do you put all this stuff? It's
I think they all have
warehouses.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, like Hawthorne dude has a separate warehouse, and then that other space.
However, that Hawthorne, is that the guy with the beard that drum? He's incredible.
Giuseppe
drums on all the demos.
Dude at the shop.
Oh my gosh, that guy's an animal. Yeah,
he's good. Some of those dealers get crazy stuff.
So Bryson from Nelson and
Nashville, another angel.
He gets like he'll do the storage unit thing where like there's a person that's just been collecting drums for 60 years or whatever, and they just pull out just tons of drums, and the person's just like, I have no idea, like I just started collecting.
But he's like $500.
Yeah.
It's like just.
I mean, I know he's very fair. Like I know that when he deals with people, but like anything else, I think when you have a store, you gotta have some sort of margin. But
I just got this old Tascam sound mixing disc in the back.
That's cool.
Nice.
From 1991. It sounds sick. I mean, I'm still learning like how different gear sounds, but I got it for $80.
Whoa!
It's like 24 channels and it's really clean and it's a vibe. I think it'll be good for my electronic stuff. Like cool to have everything to it and like mix on the dial on the.
When you're doing electronic music, are you also doing live drums too, or is it purely just electronic? Are you like mixing it up? Or
yeah, I think mix it up kind of depends. What I think the thing with electronic music is the sounds are so specific. Like if you really get into it and like break down genre by genre, like there's certain drum sounds for every genre. There's certain ways it's mixed. Like the structure is so like specific. So you really got to be a major fan to like go down the route of like making like a specific genre, because you're just like like there's the giants of that genre that you're just trying to emulate really, or like the historical dudes from that whoever the first dudes do it. It's fun and it's a really fun process, and it's cool learning how to mix it and like how to get that stuff so up front and the different sounds they use. But at the same time, like the next lot of music, it'll be fun to just not overthink it,
Plus some of that stuff, like I can never remember his name for some reason, but the drum and bass dude that we've sent around the text group, Mark
Julian.
No, the young dude, super young dude. I think
he's kind of 90s looking, as like
he's like 20 years old or something, but he's super skinny.
Rusty drums.
Yes.
Yeah, drums for Caroline Polachek.
Yes, he plays with Caroline Polachek. That dude, that's such a very hyper specific skill set.
Yeah, totally. He's really gets into the weeds with it. He's so sick. Yeah, he's amazing. His dad was in Miles Davis's band.
No way.
Really? Wow. It's just in his blood, huh?
Stacked. Just
what a legacy.
The bloodline is stacked.
Yeah, amazing legacy. Yeah, that guy's so sick. And then he's just like learning these various hyper-specific drum and bass things.
All the different stuff he uses to create those sounds. It's like mind.
And it's all ambidextrous too, because it's so fast.
Because it's fast. Yeah.
It's really that skill set is like all that breakbeat stuff. It's just like imagine what it's like to be able to do that. It just seems like
feels effortless.
Because it's when you watch him from overhead, you're sort of like, oh, it's not that crazy like what he's actually doing. It's just the feel and the speed is just like really nuts.
And the accents is huge. You know what I mean? Like when he hits certain stuff on those accents, that's the hard part in my brain, because some of the accents are like randomly placed, but it fits in that like world.
So I was gonna say what's funny about this stuff is it's funny somebody emulating what somebody made that wasn't drums. That's the.
I was just saying that.
Yeah, it's always like a concept to me that's always like so
strange.
Interesting.
Well, it was drums, and then it wasn't, and now he's making it drums again.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's a really interesting. It's like a machine making a drummer's things music, and now it's like a drummer making machine music. It's like cool.
Well, what is it? It's the Amen break. Is that the one?
Yeah,
like
it's a bunch of them.
Yeah. And it's like it's all that God. It's like the old. I mean, even James Brown era, that kind of stuff. Like those guys. Those were the guys that were sampled.
There's about 10 breaks, which basically I think all those a lot of dance genres are based around about 10 different breaks.
Yeah, and there's a documentary about the one. It's like the most sampled drum beat or whatever, and he never got paid. He got paid like $50 like a day rate for the.
I saw that one.
Oh yeah,
Clive Stubblefield.
Yeah, it's Clive Stubblefield.
Yeah. One of my favorite dudes, and like that's like my ultimate goal in my drumming is to be able to just just like, he wasn't thinking that he was going to create genres of music for generations.
Right.
At that moment, he just had such good feel that people got so excited, and his drumming was so exciting that they just took a small snippet of his playing and then created a genre. Like, that's like, it doesn't get any better than that for me personally,
It's also tough when you hear those the original tracks, if you like really listen to them in headphones. It's like, I mean, I've talked to James McAllister about this, because we were talking about George Clanton from LA, who's like the vaporwave dude, and he's there's that song, the radio primitive radio gods song, standing outside.
God, I love him.
That drum loop, that tape drum loop. George Clanton's the closest that I've ever heard.
George Clanton, who's
gotten
amazing.
to that vibe, but it's almost impossible to duplicate. You cannot.
That guy's amazing.
Even if you play it exactly, it's like just doesn't sound like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. There's a dude, Malcolm Cato.
Yes.
He's an English guy. Do you know that guy? Yeah. He did some stuff for like DJ
I'm
Shadow.
not sure.
DJ Shadow. Yeah.
He did some stuff with DJ Shadow. That guy is another guy that has a modern guy that I've seen be able to recreate.
Be able to do it.
Yeah.
Recreate it.
It's his feel and it's his tone of his drums, I think.
It's like, it's really hard to play that stuff too, that vaporwave stuff, because it feels like it was recorded in regular time to tape and then slowed down. But it's played like that, and you're sort of like, that
cool.
feel is just like,
I gotta look that up. I don't know.
It's really good. Ben, you'd love this.
Yeah.
He's like
what is it again? It's George what?
George Clanton.
Okay.
He has a record label called 100% Electronica, and everything on the label basically is that like vaporwave
vibe
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Well, Ben, I wanted to ask you, is there like any other stuff you've been listening to lately that you like in that world? I'm like, because I'm sort of like a little obsessed with that world right now, and it's like I don't know much about it, so I'm curious if you have anything that you've been listening to.
So I've been really into there's like a bunch of Danish artists. The first one that kind of came out is, I think it's pronounced ML Book, and then another one that came out, and they all work together, artist called Astrid Stone, who I just saw recently, and then I discovered another one recently called Melina, and they have all really similar sounds, and I really love it. It seems like to be like a region specific thing where, and again, it's like seems to be like influenced by dance electronic music, where it's really just a few key elements that come together, but the elements are so strong on their own, and they're quite nostalgic. Like McGee talks about it, like his music's pretty simple, but the parts are just so strong and nostalgic and really pull you in a specific way. But yeah, these Danish artists are incredible, and it will just be like, for example, I saw Astrid Stone last week in LA play, and it was just one of the best concerts I've been to in a long time. And she's on violin, she's got a celloist, and it'll just be like beautiful, like chamber music, and then she'll sing, and like she's got incredible taste. So like, it's kind of indie singing, and then she'll just like start the sickest drum loop and just so heavy, like again, like maybe like the George Clanton, like that kind of swingy, like big beat kind of thing. Yep. And then she like in the show she had like a MIDI controller, she could change the speed and the pitch of it, and it was just like so simple but so effective, and then just a beautiful like dance synth. So it's like 3 elements in a song, and so I'm really into that idea of like the minimalist thing, and like I feel like it's influenced by dance music, and like, you know, everything's quite up front but just so beautiful, like almost like chamber music medieval at times.
I don't know what it is about, I mean, you could argue about the nostalgia thing and why that stuff is so prevalent now, but there's some artists like that, and I think Clanton is like that. I think a lot of the stuff that Charlie XCX is doing, it's like it makes you nostalgic, but it is new. It isn't a rip of something, but it is sort of like, I feel like I've heard this, but I haven't heard it. There's like some sort of weird vibe of that. And it's not even, it isn't genre specific. I think there's some rock bands that are able to do it and stuff, but there's just something about the chords they choose and the vibe and the production
James
and all that
Ivey stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jimmy Stack, like all that
Jimmy
stuff.
Stack. Like, yeah. There's like this feeling, and you can't be like, oh, that reminds me of this artist or that song. There's just a nostalgic feeling that you're like, oh, this is.
What's the one woman's name record, the Strawberry? What is that name that we were looking?
Oh my gosh.
What is her name?
Why am I blanking? I annihilated that record.
Oh man, I listened to.
Caroline Loveglow.
Caroline Loveglow, yeah,
dude,
it's
that album
really similar. It's like,
okay, sick.
You listen to it and it's
just a feel. It's just
synth heavy, like it's very cool.
It's 90s. It's like 90s, but you're not like, it's not annoying 90s, like where people are like,
it's like what, and I love Cocteau Twins, but it is when I think of Cocteau Twins, I actually hear Caroline Loveglow's music. I don't hear Cocktail Twins.
Dude, I know.
But that's the
so
vibe.
Funny. We were just talking about that, how weird that is. That there's like this feeling to it that you're like, but you're right. It's like you think about all the stuff we listened to in the 90s, and it somehow encapsulates all that without sounding like it at all. You know what I mean? You're like, it's like hurts your brain a little bit.
I think that's the cool thing about the younger generation these days is I feel like my generation grew up in such heavy scenes and everything was so specific. And I think because the internet wasn't as poppin', it, that's kind of reason everything was quite on its lane, but now the internet is just open, these kids. And so the kids are just pulling like decades of inspiration. And also like, I don't know, it's a weird to think that maybe new genres are not going to be created as fast as
just
they used to be.
Everything is one genre. It's like,
so like these kids are just pulling like this amazing and like sticking them together and it's starting to get really good at it. There's a while, you can kind of see it happening in real time, and now people are kind of mastering that out of like
no rules, like genre bending.
Bending, a lot of bending. Yeah.
Earlier today, we were texting about that the Brat remix record, and I think beyond the genre bending stuff, I think it's cool that artists like Charlie, when you look at the list of people that contributed to that, the fact that the 1975 and Bon Iver and Ariana Grande are all on one record, it is a it's becoming like a monoculture thing, but it's cool. It's like, because you get all those influences, and it's sort of like, I don't know, it's that would not have happened when we were young.
No, definitely not. No.
Yeah, it is cool. Yeah. The background licensing label stuff must be just
oh my god,
nightmare. Can you imagine?
That's a full time. That's why they don't print the credits, or they don't print physical copies of that record, because it's a 60-page booklet and it's just all credits.
Yeah. Whoever was a part of it, just book.
It's what's crazy listening to that remix album, to the progression of dance and house music, all of it is kind of crazy. It's getting kind of crazy. Like some of those remixes are nuts.
Yeah, very house driven, which is weird that's like, because a lot of the fans of like Brett, could be like 19 to 25, and they're like they're like, this is sick, and you're like,
Well, I think we're the generation that's like coming up now making, and I think Charlie's at our age, but a lot of the people around that stuff, I think they're removed now enough from the 90s that it actually it is they have no weirdness about pulling from it, because they have no connection to it. Whereas like
so cool.
when my bands are making a record, we're like, oh, is that too wallflowersy? Is that too much third? But it's because I lived that the first time.
Exactly.
I'm more like weird about it. Similar to when we were coming up, it was like we're playing in punk bands. It's easier for my band to rip off the Sex Pistols, because who cares? They're dead, and I don't.
But that's about the same amount of time, Jordan.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Is that's what's weird.
Mind bending.
I've been thinking of Sex Pistols. I've been really into a podcast at the moment. It's called No Dogs in Space. Incredible podcast. It's a couple, and they do a deep dive into all those old punk bands.
That's cool.
That sounds cool.
Punk bands, and then they did krautrock.
That's cool.
They like doing the Beastie Boys. The krautrock one is amazing. That band Can.
Dude. Don't get me started. I'll go for another hour on Can.
Jackie Lever. Oh my gosh, he's one of my biggest heroes. But then like they did The Damned and like Rat Scabies. Cool. Like I've been really like channeling like him, especially for the Sky Ferreira stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
She loves that krautrock.
Oh, that makes sense. By the way, how was it learning the song "You're Not the One"?
Oh yeah, that's fun. Yeah. One question to y'all rock drummers out there: how do drummers like swing their arms so high and hit the drums?
You don't want to. You should look up videos of Nate.
Nate, you made some serious waves. I know all over the world, but especially in New Zealand, everyone was talking about you.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know how.
Nate.
I don't know how you drum like that, because I see my stuff. It still looks like I'm like doing a jazz recital, even like I'm hitting as hard as I can, and like these gigs do videos. But how, I don't know. I can't understand.
I got my arms are very long, so it's like I'm just stretched out. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. It's like
the difference is when you're 80, Ben, you'll be able to throw a baseball, and none of us will be able to do that.
Exactly.
You can run around with your kid. I can't. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny. I will see pictures, and I'm like, oh my god, what is my arm doing back there? Like I just don't think about it, or just you know what I mean. mean? Like it's like pointed back, and I'm like, it's just weird when you see it. Yeah, I don't know. I
think it's crazier playing like heavy or like faster stuff
than it is to hit hard.
When the photographer like snaps a photo and your hands are crossed, like you're just playing a groove on the hi-hat and the snare, how close your sticks actually come. And they never hit, and they're literally like a millimeter
it's just
apart.
repetition.
Yeah.
You know, it's speaking of the guy that's playing for Slipknot now, that Eloy,
he's otherworldly.
But you're talking about somebody who hits so hard, but also like his like
barely moving.
With him. Well, his ghost notes are louder than my actual
hairs,
like normal hits. So it's like,
it really is. It's like fun to watch, but also upsetting. You know what I mean? You're like,
Andy's doing it with limited visibility, like he can't see either. So it's like,
he's in a jumpsuit.
Just overheated and have his face covered, and he still just rips.
My perspective is, why do you want to be that good? Come on. I mean,
live your life.
I mean, it's pretty
live your life. Really happy. It's got a great life too.
The way I approach it is, if it was that easy, you're sort of like, I don't know, I want to work for it, How awful to have the talent work.
Well, what's crazy, I saw a video of him playing when he was much younger, and he is just as good and loud as he is now. So you're just like, oh, I guess maybe
he's just always been that way.
Always been like that.
It's annoying, isn't it?
I mean, Ben, you're playing big enough shows that I would feel like no one's really turning around and asking you to play softer, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it is a big group thing, and this is the thing with electronics as well. I think, especially, I mean, it's such a boring topic, but playing in a smaller room with electronics, the live drums are going to overpower it, so it doesn't sound as good. So I think when you see electronics in a bigger venue, it does sound a lot cooler because the live drums can have a nice blend, which is why they can sound so big in those situations. But
here's before we go, here's one question about the electronic stuff. I'm not good enough to fuck around with velocities, so all of my one shots are just the same velocity.
I don't think you need velocity with electronics. I turn it off.
Okay, that makes me feel better because it's the first one. It's like unchecked velocity.
There's only a few samples. If it's on the record velocity thing, and it might be a hi-hat pattern or something. If the producer has programmed it like that, then I'll have it on. But you don't want especially that snare, that loop stuff. You don't need velocity. It sounds weird if it's
You can tell. I actually I re-listened to Portishead's Third recently, and there's the one song that's like whatever that song is, where it's like very drum heavy, and he was recording it on the SPD, and I'm pretty sure that he had velocity on, because if you listen to it in headphones, you can hear he's recording it live with sticks, but you can hear the variance in him actually hitting it, and it's really fun to listen to it like and really pay attention to because you're like, that's if you're gonna do electronic stuff and you want it to feel organic still, that's a cool approach.
It's like Clive Deamer, drums for Radiohead as well.
Do you play with a sub? Do you have a sub when you're with the electronic stuff? Like, how do you like? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel it?
I with Lorde I have the Porter and Davies, but that's really nice.
Yeah, it's the best.
Someone's trying to tell me that you can get hemorrhoids and back issues from the. Have you ever heard that?
The only one that do it
that sounds.
Me and the two Bens use Porter and Davies. I haven't had to deal with that yet. I'll let you know if I do, but
that seems crazy. Like why would it be any more than normal?
TMI. Yeah, I thought it was
because it's like, I don't know. I guess if your throne is constantly like,
when you buy it, that's in the manual.
Is it really?
No, it's not.
Oh
no.
They give you one of the blow up donuts for after.
I will say this though. I told these dudes I used to run my entire mix through it, so it would be I would get vocals and everything.
What does that mean? Vocals to your ass? How does that make sense? Oh man, sounds good.
Well, one day our monitor guy was like, "Do you want me to send everything to it?" I was like, "I'll try it," and then I tried it, and I was like, "Why do I like this?" And then.
Wrong podcast, buddy.
I guess it does kind of. It does. I mean, the vocal thing doesn't really make sense, but I guess you're getting it. You're getting basically a vibe. That's what's coming out of the subs too.
Yeah.
Like,
I would imagine that could be cool if you're getting
I regret saying this, but it's the vibe.
I started using one early on, and there was I was using like 808, samples of 808, and it was a little overwhelming.
Yeah,
and so at first I didn't like it. This thing's shaking the whole time, and but I've gone back to it, and it's insane. It's really good. Yeah. I think I'm kind of specific about what I put through there, but you can hear the music. If you can play, you can hear it literally. It's a speaker, right?
Well, here's the thing. I did do that, and then I blew it, and then I stopped doing all those things into it. So now I just get typical stuff through it. But
it is great how consistent it is.
Yeah, it is.
Stage, it's the same.
Very nice.
Yeah.
But I guess, Ben, to wrap up on this subject, give us a rundown of what, and obviously it's different for every artist that you're playing with, but what's the general vibe of your in-ear mix? What do you get in there?
Yeah. Well, it's changed. Now I try to have as less. I went through a journey with it. I was listening way too loud, and I was having issues with my in-ears. They wouldn't fit, so I started using factory modes for a couple of tours, like the just the Shure rubber ones.
Yeah, a lot of homies like
that. They sound great, but I listened to Shure whatever one number 846. I was listening too loud, and I now have like tinnitus and like kind of had hearing damage, and it was just like a really tough thing to get through. I kind of got it in 2020, and I'm only just like kind of on the other side of it, I would say, kind of almost there. But it was really traumatic. And so I went through a couple of years of just listening as quiet as possible. So I would have a little bit of click, a little bit of vocals for
reference.
Reference. Yeah. And then the rest of the music just barely there. Now I'm getting a bit more confident with listening to louder stuff again. So I'm turning up a bit more, but just like a pretty general. But definitely if I'm going off the vocals for references, for prompts, then I have the vocals a little louder. And then click. Yeah.
Click is what does it too. That's what the tinnitus
is. I've been dropping my click more and more every tour. I'm just like, I used to just blare it because I get so nervous, but now I'm just so low now. I'd barely need to hear it.
It's like, you can kind of play along to, especially if you got tracks, you can kind of get away with playing along to that stuff. Do
you have with Lorde? Do you have, or with anybody? Do you do a lot of cues?
I wish, but my best friend is in charge of playback, and he does not do it for me. I talked to him about the other night, and I've never seen him so angry about something.
That's so funny.
He hates it. I'm too scared to ask for them.
Oh my god, that's funny.
It's such an ordeal to get them put on.
Yeah,
I'm doing a gig in a couple of weeks, and I get to do the click. So I've been going to town with the prompts and different cowbell sounds. I mean, he does do it, but I wish I could have more.
Back in the day, I don't even think it was that hard when we were building our tracks, but we've fought with the internal of it wasn't punk or rock. We're like, just learn this song.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dude, just put it in there. It's so much more fun if you don't have to think. If you're chorus,
exactly, just chill.
And then you're like, we're already on in-ear, so that the punk battle.
No one, 100%. They're like, just count in your head. I'm like, or just count in my ears.
Yeah. Or Snoop Dogg can count it off.
Exactly. Put whatever you want.
Different celebrities to do it.
That's amazing.
I'm like, if it makes you play the parts right every time, and
less stress, and you just play better.
I mean, there's certain music where, of course, it's more about the feeling and in being in the moment and reacting to each other. But for what we're talking about, I think. If you're just playing the same songs every night the same way, then why not?
Word. All right, man.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank
you, man.
Fun.
This is awesome.
Oh my gosh,
man.
that was really fun. I hope we get to meet some of you. And
definitely, man.
All right, man.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a real honor. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Great to meet you.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Bye.